There's a specific kind of silence that enters a room when someone leaves it forever. It is not loud, it does not scream, it's just there, in the chair, on the side of the bed, and the cup they used every morning. And no matter how much time passes, the space doesn't feel empty. Namaste, I'm Janvi, and today we are not talking about science, we are not talking about cosmos, but we are talking about grief. In the modern world, when we lose someone, we are told to be strong, to move on, to accept it. But the Vedic sages never rushed grief. They understood something about loss that we seem to have forgotten. They taught us that when a chair becomes empty, it does not mean that the presence has ended. There is a moment in Bhagavad Gita that most people seem to misunderstand. It does not begin in peace, okay? It begins in collapse. Arjuna is standing in the middle of the battlefield. His hands are shaking, his throat is dry. He can't even hold his bow. He's not being philosophical. He's grieving in advance. And in that moment, Krishna does not tell him to be strong. He does not say, don't cry. He says something that is almost impossible to accept when your heart is breaking. Vasaamsi Jeernaani yatha vihai, navani grihnati naro parani, tatha sharirani vihai zirnani, anyani samvrajya navani dehi. Just as a person removes their worn-out garments and puts on a new one, the soul removes a body that has completed its journey. When we lose someone, it feels like something has been destroyed. But Krishna says nothing real was destroyed. The body is a garment. The presence you loved, the consciousness, the warmth, the awareness, that was never the cloth. But that does not mean that you should not grieve. Even Arjuna wept. It just means that the story did not end. If that is a doorway, then grief is the hallway that we must walk through. And the Vedic sages never asked us to skip the hallway. There is another story from our Indic traditions. It is not about warriors, it is about a mother, and her name was Kisa Gotami. She had only one child, and one day that child suddenly died. She could not accept it. She held his small body in her arms, going house to house begging for medicine, not to ease the pain, but to bring him back. She finally reached Buddha. He looked at her and understood that philosophy would not help her. So he gave her a task instead. He said, I will help you, but first you need to bring me a handful of mustard seeds from a house where no one has ever died. Kisa Gotami went door to door. At the first house, they said, yes, you can take my mustard seeds, but my father passed away last year. At the second house, my sister died in the spring. And at the third house, my son passed away. My son said her hands were empty, and slowly her resistance was too. She realized something that did not remove her pain, but it removed her loneliness. Her grief was not a punishment. It was not a mistake. It was the shared cost of loving someone deeply. When you lose someone, you are not being singled out by the universe, okay? You are simply stepping into a river that every human heart has crossed. Grief isolates us, but truth, it reconnects us. In our tradition, we observe 13 days of mourning. To some, it may look like a ritual, but it is much more than a ritual. It is not for the one who has left, but it is for the ones who remain. It is a structured space for grief, a time where you are allowed to cry openly, to remember loudly, to sit in silence without pretending to be okay. There's a reason it is not just one day. It is not 1 year either. It is long enough to feel the reality, but not long enough that grief becomes your only identity. In our scriptures, this period is connected to what we call Pratakriya, a recognition that the soul is in transition, not erased, not lost, in transition. Some teachings say that when our grief becomes tightly clinging, it can make the transition heavier. This does not mean that your tears are wrong. Tears are love, but love has two forms. One that holds, and the one that blesses. And somewhere in those 13 days, the heart slowly learns to shift from holding on to blessing the journey. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It is saying, I love you enough to let you continue. Loss is like standing in a bridge. Behind you is the life that you knew, the sound of their laughter, their habits, the way they said your name. In front of you is a reality that you did not choose. One where the chair remains empty. You cannot walk backwards, but you can walk forward, carrying what they left you, carrying what they gave you. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a line, Ajunikya Shashvatoyam Purana. It means that the soul is unborn, eternal, ancient. What you loved was not temporary. It was not an accident of the flesh. It was simply consciousness meeting consciousness. And if the soul continues, the love does not end. It just simply changes its form. You may meet again in a different story, in different garments, but the thread that connected you does not snap. If you are watching this while learning to live with an empty chair, then please remember this. Your grief is not a weakness in any kind or any form. It is a proof that something sacred touched your life. You are not broken. You are a warrior of heart. If you feel ready, then please share a memory of them below. Let this become a space where names are spoken and love continues. Until next time, namaste.